So we are recording. Today we're talking about Pulse Match, and it's a smarter way to connect carriers and drivers, delivering carriers personalized, targeted applications from drivers who fit their requirements. So what actually brought us here? What led us here? And what it was is mobile IntelliApps. We saw that the industry trend that more and more drivers were actually submitting applications via their mobile device. And we don't believe that trend will be changing anytime soon. You can clearly see from 2014 through April of this year, that trend line is going up as more and more people become familiar with mobile devices and the opportunities that mobile devices present to them in both their personal and professional lives. So that took us to the next step of, IntelliApps versus the Driver Pulse. So after developing the Driver Pulse app, this trend continued, and it clearly grew very, very quickly just over the past couple of years. We heard from drivers that told us that applying through Pulse was so much easier than having access to a computer and applying through a computer. It became a preferred method for actually searching for jobs, submitting an application, and just managing their career overall. So the Pulse Match algorithm. So it's born out of a way that the industry needs, so to speak. So when we developed Pulse Match, it was a smarter way to connect qualified drivers with carriers based on the carrier's needs. We reduced friction. So for any of those of you who joined us at the Vegas conference, friction was a very common word that was used throughout the presentations when we were there. We aim to lower the costs and improve the experience for both you and the candidates, with the end goal of delivering carriers personalized, targeted applications from drivers who fit your requirements and their requirements. Personal preferences drivers can like or block a carrier, giving carriers valuable information concerning the driver's interest in your particular company. So here's what it looks like from a standpoint of you're entering some active jobs out there. You have all of your jobs listed here, and then it matches to the driver's profiles. So they can find interest specifically based on their profiles and connect with you through your carrier jobs. It provides a seamless opportunity for you to find those that are truly interested in the jobs that you have open, and then for the driver, for you not to waste your time from a recruiting standpoint on people who are applying for jobs that you don't even offer. So it really brings a huge valuable benefit from that standpoint to help you guys out. So what it does track is the experience level. So from the driver profile, when they enter this information into Driver Pulse, we gathered a lot of the statistics, and that's what we're showing you now. So the experience level, look at how many have that 1+ years experience. We're all after those experienced drivers. That's how many drivers are currently in Driver Pulse with that amount of experience. I mean, that's just phenomenal for all of us to be able to see those kind of numbers and through this mechanism of Pulse Match to be able to connect with you. Driver types. There's a good percentage of company drivers, but we have those the owner-operators coming up there as well. So again, these are people that are already in Driver Pulse, using it actively, looking for jobs, or maybe communicating with you through Driver Pulse to complete their application or do other things that you're asking them to do. This is what that population actually looks like. Equipment types. So this gives you an idea of the different types of equipments they've selected in their driver profile, with van being the largest, and obviously we've got flatbed and tanker. So again, this gives you the experience level from the standpoint of the type of equipment that they're familiar with, again, connecting to those active jobs where you're looking for that type of equipment. So how important are active jobs? They are extremely important. They touch so many different components within Pulse and within your IntelliApp. So we'll show you a little bit about how those connect. So without active jobs, this is a Pulse display. If a driver's looking for your organization, they can certainly hit the apply button and apply with you without having active jobs, but it doesn't really tell them anything about your organization or what kind of an experienced driver you're looking for. However, when you do activate active jobs and you have a company profile, this is what they see. And when they want to see what locations you're hiring in, the map will display and help them understand what locations you're hiring or what states, what cities, what zip codes your availability is in. And then keep in mind, it's also going to strengthen that big white box in the Express dashboard by showing you that they're a Pulse user and that you have a Blue Man match, meaning that there's information within the job that you presented that they applied for that results in it demonstrating a Blue Man, which means that they've matched on certain components of your job along with their profile. With your IntelliApp in particular, if you're not using active jobs, nothing displays. They just go through the normal IntelliApp process as they do today. If you are using active jobs, they do get the map and they get a listing of the different jobs that you have available under active jobs. So again, it's streamlining that process for the driver to connect with you for jobs that you have available. And again, the recruiters aren't wasting time filtering through applications where they're out of area. They just don't have the fit. They don't have the experience level. It's making it a little bit easier for all of us to connect and work in one great big circle. Facebook. So the driver has the opportunity to also share information from Pulse straight on to Facebook. If you don't have an actual active job or company profile, this is what it looks like. He's getting ready to post it onto Facebook, and there's no jobs listed, but possibly a decent company to come work for. However, when you're using active jobs, it will display the job that he wants to present out to his friends, and a bunch of free advertising starts to happen about that specific job that that driver posted on your behalf. Job Store. So Job Store is where you can order Pulse Match, and it's something that we talked about in a few webinars back, and we can certainly refresh your memory or send you any of those webinars if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about Job Store. But without active jobs, so this is the dashboard, the Express dashboard view. For those of you using Job Store today, without active jobs, there's just no map that shows where you're hiring. What are your locations that are actively hiring right now? When you are using active jobs, it provides all the jobs that you have available, the location sets, so zip codes, states, upper northeast or lower 48, however you want to design your location sets around active jobs, and it displays those for you, and then you can select which jobs you're wanting to fill at that particular point. You don't have to select all of them. You just order the ones that you're happy with and that you want to move forward with. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about Pulse just a little bit before we have Leah take over and talk a little bit about how this all interacts and some of those common questions. When we first introduced IntelliApp in 2007, we provided a similar network effect, allowing drivers to complete our applications in just mere minutes. And we're very proud of that. We're pretty happy that it helps the driver and it helps you receive a more complete application. Drivers benefit by completing it literally in a few minutes, especially if they've got several other applications out there. That's what that autofill process is that we talk about. We're doing the same thing with Pulse Match. We're building a network effect, and we have a balancing act to perfect this as we strive. So we're continuously looking for improvements and ways of doing things better for both the driver and the carrier to make it better for all of us in that experience. We will never make a decision that would compromise our relationship with our clients or undermine your success. Above all, our success lies with yours and our loyalty with you. We're not selling your leads. Don't look at Pulse Match as something like that. If they go to a website and Google search for a specific company, it's, they do that. We can't prevent something like that from happening. Pulse Match just connects people that have already matched on your active jobs if you're using it. So from that standpoint, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Leah. So Leah, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All righty.
Okay, so just to show everybody how easy the setup is, I wanted just to include this slide. This may look familiar to some of you if you've received or read any of the blogs recently. This is also part of a blog. But essentially, it's 3 easy steps. You would define your active jobs, which are just the descriptions, requirements, and locations of the positions that you're hiring for, which Haley spoke about earlier. Step 2, you would just place your Pulse Match order in the job store, and then you would get apps. So whether you use our express line or simply have applications emailed to you, you can depend on Pulse Match to deliver more of the personalized and targeted applications that you need to fill your jobs. And so I'm going to cover, like Haley said, I'm going to cover some of the more popular questions that we've received just to make sure that everybody has a really good, thorough understanding of how this works. And while I'm doing this, if you guys want to, feel free to send in your additional questions, that would be great. And I will get to them after we run through these there's probably about 6 of them, 7. And so we'll get started. So how will I be charged? Everybody wants to know that. You will pay just a low introductory blended rate of $30 per matched IntelliApp. So a blended rate is what we're calling any of your IntelliApps. Some people just like to have an owner-operator IntelliApp or a company IntelliApp. Also, partial applications too are included in the blended rate. So the next question, of course, is will I receive partial IntelliApps? And you will only receive partial IntelliApps in this as part of your $30 charge if you use our continuation IntelliApp service. So that's actually how we're able to keep it to low keep the rate so low, is so that you're still benefiting from this service, and it's actually a very, very good price point that you'd be paying. Will my orders reoccur? Which is yes, they will reoccur, but if you would not like them to reoccur, there's just a simple checkbox you would uncheck called recurring, and if you do that 5 days before the month's end, then you will not have a reoccurring order. Or recurring. Can you cancel mid-month? The answer to this is also yes. You can cancel your orders mid-month with Pulse Match. This is not available as far as with who else was it? Job store merchants, but at Pulse Match we do offer this cancellation and mid-month service. Okay, how many applications will I get per day, per month? This will just vary widely, but depending on what you're looking for, where you are, we do know that the numbers obviously are continuing to rise in Pulse Match with more and more drivers signing on every day. So that, along with that trend, we would assume that you would start getting more and more as more and more drivers signed on. And a performance report is something that's going to be able to allow you to track how many and of which type of IntelliApp you've received per active job listed. You would see this in the job store tool. So you are always able to see how many of each type of application has come in and your totals as well. We're going to show you a picture of that right here. So that's going to show you the dates that it's ran between, how many lead applications you get, and how many full applications you get, as well as how many views. Now in this example, we just show 0, but you would obviously show how many views you've received, as well as the price per app, the total spend, and then the budget that you set as well. So you can see how close you are to your budget. If you need to increase that at any point, we can do that for you too. And that performance report actually runs off some of the features or the way that Origins works today. So you get a little bit of that.
And if I could jump in there just for a second, Leah. So what we want to make really clear about Pulse Match is you only pay for what you receive. If you set a budget of 600 and you didn't receive all of the applications up to 600, then you don't pay 600. You only pay for the applications that you've received.
That's right. Thank you. Okay, and just to show you what the driver sees, this is just a little animated GIF that we created. So if you were the driver, you would go to your tools, you would look at your job profile, and you can see all the criteria that the driver would select to describe himself and what he's looking for. And then if you go to the jobs area, that's where you would see jobs that match your profile. So right now, this example test user just matches 2. And if you look at the little bars, they look like signal bars on the far left, but that shows how close the match is. You would just click on apply. And of course, the pre-population that we have with our IntelliApp works on here too. So once this driver fills in his last name, social, and date of birth, it pre-populates, as you can see there. So we're going to let this just run through a few times so you can watch how it works. And in the meantime, I will take any questions that you have right now. Okay, we've got one here. Can an organization with one 10th Street ID have multiple company profiles? So I think what this person is asking is if they can, if a company has more than maybe one logo or one name, maybe they're an umbrella company where they have several different carrier names underneath that umbrella, if they can have more than one company profile, and the answer to that is yes. You can have one for each of your carrier names, if that's what you're asking in that question. Is that how you interpret that, Haley?
Yes. So when you set up active jobs, you'll be able to select the different types of applications or alias applications that you have available to you. And so you would select which active job that you're hiring for is applies to or does apply to which application. So absolutely.
Okay, great. I'm still waiting for some to come in. We don't have any more, so I'm hoping that means that we answered a lot of them in that FAQ we ran through. But we will wait a little bit longer to make sure we've given everybody enough time.
And for any of you that are waiting, or while Leah's looking for some of those questions to come through, and please feel free to submit those. Get your answers. She's happy to do that for you. But I mean, you can go through the Driver Pulse experience yourself as well. So if you do have Driver Pulse on your phone, you can continue on as a guest. You don't have the full capabilities as a guest, but you can see a lot of what the driver goes through. So that's a benefit to see as well.
The next question is, can more than one person in the company be able to have this on their phone? And the answer to that is yes. You can actually share a test user if you wanted to, or for each individual, what I would recommend is that each person at the carrier company who wanted to have this on their phone, I would have a test applicant set up for each user. And then once you've got that in there, then you can log in. You don't have to just be a guest, and then you can see what the driver would see.
This is a driver app. Driver Pulse is a driver app. It's what the driver downloads and goes through the experience with in setting up their profile. 10th Street does have a mobile app as well. It's called 10th Street Dashboard if you search in the Apple or Google Play Store. And that will give you a dashboard view. So it's not Driver Pulse, but it's a way to work within 10th Street using your mobile phone or a tablet. So we do have a 10th Street Dashboard mobile app, and then Driver Pulse is specific to drivers. But if you do want to go through the experience of seeing what a driver goes through, you can definitely download Driver Pulse and go through that guest experience or a test candidate, as Leah mentioned.
Yep. That is correct. Let's see. We've got a couple more that just came in. Are there organic apps that companies receive who have a profile on Pulse? I'm not sure what they're asking. Haley, do you?
I think if I'm understanding correctly, so organic. So they're just applications that are placed on Pulse, and can you receive those? They haven't really necessarily selected your organization or anything like that. I think from that standpoint, is that it, Leah, or was there clarification?
I think so. I think that's probably what he's trying to get at. So you can actually do a carrier search, and you can find a carrier that you've never applied to before, and apply through Pulse, and you can receive a full IntelliApp. I hope that's answering this question.
Yep, that probably is, and I'll show you guys just real quick. Let me get out of here while Leah's still going through those questions. Leah has this is 10thstreet.com, and it's the blog. She actually has a blog out here about Pulse Match. And the very bottom of it, it goes through and it talks about all the different ways that individuals can find you. Pulse Match is what we're talking about today, where it directly attributes to an active job that you have out there. But there are something that we're kind of playing around with called sponsored searches. So there's different things that we can do from that perspective. We're not sure we're going that route, but it might be something that you're talking about. But otherwise, if they're searching for you and they want to apply with you, that option's available in Pulse. But that's a good blog to read if you're interested in finding out different ways that drivers can connect with you.
And that's all we've got so far. We're still waiting if anybody wants to send any in, some last minute questions. But
Okay. Well, that's great. So we did have up the, contact your advisor if you have any additional questions. Of course, Leah and I are available if you want to shoot us some emails. Again, that's Hayley, Hayley, at 10street.com, and leah.kelly@10street.com. Again, we'd like your feedback on the presentation as well. So if you think we do things differently, please let us know, and we'll take your comments into high consideration. All right. Well, we definitely appreciate you joining us today. I hope everyone has a wonderful 4th of July, and we will talk to you guys very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.